Hi everybody.
Hello everyone.
Today's question is, can anybody be a fruitarian? Like just anybody, or are there some people that just can't for whatever reason? So that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yes, so you start us.
Okay. Yeah. There are a lot of excuses from people as to why they can't become fruitarian. And because of those excuses, it seems to them, they've convinced themselves that they can't. But our stance is that absolutely everybody, everywhere, could possibly become fruitarian if that was what they chose to do. There's no physiological reason why anybody out there couldn't do it. There are obviously circumstantial reasons why it's difficult to get fruit, like with Inuits or Eskimos or whatever. It may be impossible for them to get hold of enough fruit, but that doesn't mean that they can't be fruitarian. It doesn't mean that they couldn't up and leave and go and live somewhere where there was more fruit. We all make choices in our life, and we respect that people make the choices that they choose, even if we don't respect the choices that they're making. If that makes any sense. But we don't see any reason why anybody should not be able to become fruitarian.
Yes, because I believe it's our nature. We are naturally fruitarians by design. That's why we were giving only fruit to eat in a Garden of Eden. That's obvious there. And we just lost our ways because we disobeyed God. We were thrown out from the blessed land to the cursed land. So the truth is taken away from us, and we actually live in a lie. Most people do because they do not know God or understand God or what actually God wants from us. That's how I perceive the world. And as Mango said, somebody can say about the Eskimo people, but they live only very short life. And if I was born, as I know my personality, in such a land, I will definitely make my way out of there. Doesn't matter what. Where is the will, there is a way, you know. There were people who even escaped the Gulag in Siberia. And I know not everybody who tried to escape made it, but there were people who made it. And it really depends on our inner values, where our life take us and how we, when we have that power to do so, navigate it ourselves. I myself was born in a country I didn't fit in, and I could stay there and just put up with it or learn to be above it. But I decided to look for a better place for myself while I'm on the earth, so I don't have to suffer every day mentally seeing such a corrupted society, because I was always very sensitive to any harm, and living in a very harmful society was for me difficult. As it would be difficult for me to live in a snow, where there was a snow. I enjoyed as a child, but as soon as I become adult, it wasn't anymore. Go on a toboggan every day and so on.
She escaped communism.
Anyway, since I come to the internet about year 2000, I'm not sure exactly what year it was, I come across that not many people embraced fruit only. There was big opposition to it. Wherever I went, I used to go to these message boards a lot, and I've been ridiculed for eating fruit. I was telling people, try it, you will learn, it's the best food you can eat, it's our natural food. But people always find excuses, and I believe it's just the addiction talks, not them. They don't talking from their heart. I think they speak out of their addictions. They can't imagine not have nuts And that was raw food people I was talking to on the internet. They wanted that nuts. They wanted those recipes with a lot of ingredients. They were again addicted in a way to this way of eating. And they make excuses like it's too cold to eat fruit only, or fruit is too expensive, or we have only bad quality fruit in our country, and so on. I feel again sorry for those people because I can see they just don't have stamina to embrace the idea to eat only fruit. It's for them too radical. It's for them, they have to say goodbye to many things they like to eat. They attached to it so strongly. And of course, we also have a cravings for different things because we ate them before. But even when I gave in on cravings, it never satisfied me. And if it did satisfy me, it never take long. After a day or so, I would just not desire that thing anymore, whatever it was. Anyway, we are people, we are not trees. We don't have a roots in the ground. We can move around, it's our nature. And I believe that we are set too much in our traditions and
We're creatures of habit.
and habits. That's a good one. So we just found difficult to break free from all this and really follow our inner needs, dreams. We don't follow our heart, we follow our mind. We feel like we need to fit in to the society we've been born into.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, they may kid themselves that they're following their heart or that they're doing what's right. But the reality is that they've been born into a society which has thoroughly brainwashed them in so many ways that it makes it impossible almost for them to see clearly and to recognize what their heart truly wants. There are so many excuses. Kvetka mentioned people living in cold climates and how they would use it as an excuse. But for me, I started off on my raw journey on my fruitarian path, living in Norway, where a lot of people would be in Norway now and say, well, I can't do it because I'm living in Norway. And it's thoroughly not true, unless, of course, you're living out in a mountain somewhere where there isn't any supermarket or food to be gotten. But I lived in a city, in a town, and there was a supermarket there. There was sources of food for me to get whatever I wanted from. And also, of course, it's very cold in the winter. It is an excuse, that's what it is. When people say you can't do it because of that, they've just found an excuse. And another great excuse in some people's mind, like we've got one fellow who comes onto our YouTube channel regularly, recently, Le Druide 62, and he writes that you can't do what we're doing because there's all kinds of different genotypes out there. And because his genotype is not the same as ours, maybe that's what he's saying, I don't know, he hasn't said it directly, but certain genotypes just aren't suited to eating fruit. And I've queried him, tell me what you mean by genotype. What's your genotype and what do you think ours is?
Yeah.
But the truth is very, very difficult for a lot of people to understand. Humans are one species. We're not like a whole bunch of different species. Now, I just remembered a story back from in the 1990s. I knew this old lady. This lady was always trying to find reasons for why it couldn't work to be eating just fruit and why it wasn't for everybody. And she went away and she wrote this article which she published in a newsletter which she had at the time. And in this article she talked about how the sweet chestnut and the horse chestnut tree, they look very similar, and yet they both had very different requirements as far as what their soil goes. One needed more acidic and one needed more alkaline or more phosphorus in their soil or whatever it was. Honestly, I don't remember what the difference was, but she'd done some research and she'd seen that the sweet chestnut and the horse chestnut required different soil types, even though they look the same or very similar. And she was very proud of the fact that she'd written this because it was like, aha, see, this is proof that you're wrong. And I said to her afterwards, Viviane, look, the horse chestnut and a sweet chestnut are two different species of trees. They may look similar. You may make the same comparison between a human and a chimpanzee. There may be similarities, but they're not the same species. So why are you comparing the two and saying one of them needs this and the other needs this? Humans are one species. Humans, we're all physiologically very, very similar. Of course, we're at different stages because we're at different stages of toxification, and the society we grow in and the food we eat makes us all different in a sense, but the way the body functions is the same for all of us.
Yeah.
People also say, I'm blood type O for omnivore, or whatever the blood type is. They talk about this blood type diet where certain blood types can eat certain things and other blood types require a different kind of diet. And I said, well, look at a cow. A cow has got, this is from the top of my head, 9 different blood types, maybe even 12. Every mammal species out there has got different blood types, and yet all cows thrive on eating grass. All lions thrive on eating the flesh of animals, even though there's a whole bunch of different blood types for lions. There aren't some lions out there that say, oh, I can't eat that zebra because I'm a vegetarian, because that's what I'm physiologically designed to do. Physiologically, you can look at a lion and see that they've all got claws, even though they've got different blood types. They've all got big sharp teeth, yeah. And they've all got the same kind of intestines, just the same as we do, as humans. So it's ridiculous to be thinking that some humans need this and some humans need that. Of course, you're going to find some people that try to become fruitarian and fail because, frankly, people fail at every diet. And it's often the case that they fail because they lack that incentive, really. They lack full reasoning of why they're doing it, and they lack faith in what they're doing. Because there's so many out there that say, you're going to miss out on this, you're going to miss out on that, you're going to miss out on important proteins, which is it's a lot of bullshit because it's amino acids maybe that they're missing out on, but they think they're going to miss out on something, and that creates, I've said it before, kind of negative placebo, which leads to them failing because they don't really feel that they can succeed in the first place.
Yes. Also, another big thing I heard from people, the social scene. What we do in a social scene. Be strong, be yourself, stand by your beliefs and be proud of them. But people, they're even hiding their honor in the social scenes, again, that fit in a need. So they come to social scenes and they just do in a wrong what Romans do. Because everybody eats cook there, they eat cook too. So they fit in, they're not being under spotlight or being questioned. This is not a problem, and this comes from what Mangu just said. They may be on the raw food, but their reason is very shallow. It might be just to look good. This is the problem in the social scenes when I told them, be yourself, be proud of yourself. Use it as opportunity to educate people about how they should eat if somebody asks you questions. But instead they tell me, I don't want to upset people. This is actually not right if somebody offers you food, to refuse it. So actually the culture is another reason for them. This is rude. So if somebody offers me alcohol, I should drink it, otherwise I'm rude. So I rather be rude than be rude to my own self, my own body. I rather make people believe the lie that I am rude than to hurt myself and do something which goes against my grain just for the sake to fit in, to be accepted in that group.
And besides, once you've made it clear to somebody what it is you do and don't eat, they may be a little offended the first time because they think, well, I've created this beautiful food for you. But once they understand it, it'll be so much easier in the long run. Otherwise, if you give in and say yes, then you've opened up the door to be getting it every time, even though you don't want it. This is one of the things that Buddhists, I mean, Buddhism in its heart, I think, is like many religions, the core of it is actually teaching the golden rule. And Buddhism is the same in that way, that Buddhism teaches you the precepts that you shouldn't cause harm to others. And yet so many Buddhists out there, they eat anything that they're given. And I've lived with Buddhists before, and I've challenged them on this. And I've said, why is it you do this? And they say, well, it's because it's not polite to refuse what you're offered. And I said, by accepting it, you're telling the people that are offering it to you that what they're doing is okay. What they're doing is fine. It's okay for them to be killing animals for you because you're a Buddhist and look, you're accepting it. And of course, this is because people, they aren't thinking for themselves anymore. They're letting their religion, their society, their indoctrination steer their path, and they're not able to think clearly for themselves. This is basically just how it is. And I think it's similar with fruit. When we're eating fruit, we have the power within us to say, no, this is not the kind of food that we want to eat when we're offered things that we don't. And by that way, we stay true to ourselves, and we make it clear to others who we are, what we're about, and we let our light shine more.
That's right. And I also learn with some people, you know, in a life how it goes. People come and go, and some old friends come back to your life and stuff like this, and it's happening to me a lot in the past. Even now it's happening to me. Anyway, a lot of people who didn't see me for a long time, even over 10 years, first questions usually they ask me when we run into each other again, they said, are you still eating only fruit? So they're not doing it, but it's there. They know there is somebody who does it. And they might still have in their mind believe it's impossible to do it long time. So that's why they're so curious. The first thing they're curious about, if I'm actually still doing it. And when I say yes, they respect me, they look up to me. Also, I'm glad I come to Australia. I was already in Australia when I decided to eat only fruit because I was fully accepted. Here, Australian people, they very open-minded. When I said I eat only fruit, most of the people, they just accept it. But they don't ask questions or anything. Some people ask questions. There are people who would tell me I'm mad, but they say it in a way that I don't feel offended. They say it more like...
It's light-hearted. Oh,
yeah. You must be crazy, you know. Are you crazy? You're doing that, you know. It's like really comes out of their heart, like it's innocent. It doesn't mean to put me down, or in a way like you're crazy.
No.
Not on that level at all.
No, it's a good society here in Australia.
Yeah.
In that sense.
And I sometimes giggle on that because I see that actually being totally absurd. That I'm being portrayed as somebody who is mad, yet I'm not the one who sits at the doctors all the time and eating pills. And most of the people who oppose me most, they're that kind of people.
It's true.
And
it's true.
They don't look healthy. They may be some of them my neighbors. I know some of their business. And not healthy at all. Even whinging about health problems. I told them, maybe if you do this, maybe you feel better. No. I love my meat. I heard from people things like doctors, and they told me, I know what you're doing is very healthy, but I just couldn't do it. Straight away, I love my meat too much. Stuff like this. And that shows me, and that's the honest and answer, and it shows me that what we're saying, it proves me that is our habits, our addictions, our religions, whatever it is.
I want to say, I do understand for a lot of people, if they're on a, let's say, standard American diet, the SAD diet, and they're hearing about fruitarianism, it's like this huge distance between the two. On the one hand, they're eating pretty much everything and all kinds of unhealthy food and fast foods and all kinds of things that they're eating. And on the other hand, there's the fruit people, or they're eating as fruit. And in their head, it just seems impossible because the distance is so wide. The old Chinese proverb goes that 1,000-mile journey starts with the first step,
Yes.
which of course is very true. There's another expression which I have dear to my heart too, apart from this one. There's also this one that great chasms cannot be leapt with 2 small leaps or 3 small leaps. You've got to jump over fully. But of course that's not really true there, because you can take steps to get there. But I think that if you were able to jump, then that's the best way to get from one to the other, is to jump straight over the chasm and not jump halfway, because then you're going to fall down and probably climb back up the side that you left.
Well, I go back to the reason why people decide to eat certain way, and why, if some people hear of it, decide to eat, for example, fruit only. I still believe that if you don't know in your mind and in your heart the strong, true reasons why you're doing it, you may easily fall. Because try to fit in, making thousands of excuses why we can't do it, that won't take you very far. To believe this is really my food, if I don't want to harm myself, that's what I'm going to embrace. I'm going to do my best and see how my body reacts to it, what actually happens for me when I do it, and go from there. Once you experience it, you have something to hold on. Once you experience it, and it's good experience, you can hold on that. And with the time, you creating more strength inside your experiences to hold on, to keep going forward. Like when I craved cooked food and I ate it, I felt sick from it, and that's what I was holding on. Next time when I was craving food, I was saying, remember how sick you were and all this, and I always try to talk myself out of it. And the longer I was on that road, the more easier for me was to say no, because I did learn from past experiences. So if you just do it for the sake of eating just fruit and there is no more to it, I don't believe, I've said that before, that it would be very successful.
If you're doing it purely for selfish reasons, because you've got in your head that it's a healthy thing to do, then you're almost certainly not going to succeed. You have to do it not only for yourself, but for the world. You've got to do it for your spiritual self more so than for your physical body.
That's right.
That's the key, really.
And also, once you eat fruit, you start learning who you are. And it's a very exciting chapter of this. And that's also gives us strength. Because the food is made of chemicals, and those chemicals, they affect all our body, including the brain. And if you don't eat your natural food, you are not being yourself. You're being influenced by the wrong chemicals in your body. Just like when they fed cows meat and offal the unnatural food, the cows develop mad cow disease. So the cow was not anymore her natural self. The cow was influenced by the wrong chemicals in her body. So the mind became toxic, the behavior became toxic, the body got ill. And this is what's happening to us.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. I would say that humankind as a species, we are suffering from mad human disease because we're eating things that we frankly shouldn't be eating. We're eating suffering and agony and terror. Not only that, but also those non-foods, the heavily processed foods. It's made the world as it is today. And look around us, there's madness everywhere, greed and corruption. And this is at the core of society. And all of that stems, I believe, predominantly from how we're eating. Because how we're eating is affecting our behavior, our emotions. We're no longer the calm, peaceful beings that we should be.
You know.
We're these beings that want to tell everybody we're natural born predators, which is a total lie, because most people have never even killed an animal anyway, and they're arguing and saying no, we're natural born predators, when they're sitting at home in their rabbit hutch boxes watching TV all day and never getting outside and terrified if a bug comes in their house. They're natural born predators.
Yeah, I also want to give example with the alcohol. If I drink alcohol, it's made of certain chemicals and affects me accordingly. It's true that each of us may have different reaction on one glass of wine, but we will have a reaction. And this is the thing I'm talking about. The chemicals you put in your body does affect your body. So much so, you don't have even a control over your own mind or even the movements of your body. And this is one thing. That's the food which affects us, the chemicals from the food. Another thing is our mind. Our mind also can produce chemicals. When we too scared, our body produces chemicals. When we really happy or when we exercise, this is also very important. So if we put too much stress on ourselves, if we too hard on ourselves, and it's usually because we confused we too hard on ourselves. We also create wrong chemicals in our body. And if I ate when I binged the wrong food, I could see how it also affected my mind and my behavior. Yes, so it's not only food which affects our chemistry of our body, it's also our mind. And this is also important to consider if you want to look after yourself. It doesn't go only with the food, it goes in your way of thinking, how you perceive things, where is your values, and all that.
I actually believe that the two are very, very intertwined. So it's actually what you're eating that makes your mind feel that way too. I mean, you can start working with the mind and adjusting how you think about things, but if you continue to consume the wrong kind of things, it will be very, very difficult to break out of the mindset. So the mind is one thing and the food is another, but they're actually connected.
Yes.
And the more healthy you can eat, suddenly your mind will start working in a different way too. So I'm not entirely agreeing that they're two different things. I think
well, they're not two different things, that's right. But what I meant is the chemicals in our body can come from two different things. That's from food and from, of course, the air and everything, and our mind. And there I see the difference, because the mind is ethereal and the food is physical. So that's why dividing it in those two levels. But of course, we are all one thing. I'm saying that all the time. All goes in hand. You can't divide.
Harm to the part is harm to the whole.
That's right. And that's so true. If you have a toothache, we are miserable. All body suffers. And only one little tooth.
All it takes is a little cut on your finger to ruin your day.
So we should wrap it up. Look, this is big topic again, and I'm sure we will come back to it with the time in different way. So we may wrap it up.
Yeah. So thank you for listening, everybody, and until next time, toodaloo.
Well, we thank you for your interest in our videos, and we thank you for every comment, and we love you, and don't forget cultivating love in your heart. It's the most important thing for you. Take care of yourself, and till next time, we love you. Bye.